Alright, so I went ahead and picked me up one of these bad boys. It was on sale for 60 bucks, so I couldn't pass it up. First, let's take off this far too shiny shrink wrap. Oh, that's cool. I like how the 7800 on the box is all shiny too. And the controller as well. So this is the 7800 Plus from Atari. It includes a wireless control pad that Atari came up with after Nintendo invented the NES controller. And it also comes with a copy of Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest, of which I already have a copy. But I guess it never hurts to have more than one. Alright, let's check out the back of the box here. Backward compatible with the greatest decade ever. What's that, the 80s? Hard to disagree with that. Get your pixel fix like it's 1986. Clever. In the box we have the 7800 Plus itself, a wireless controller, a copy of Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest, a 1.8 meter HDMI cable, and a 1.8 meter USB-C cable. Alright, let's open the box here and whoa, this looks good. Even the system itself has this nice plastic covering. And here it is compared to an original 7800. Notice the rainbow bar looks quite a bit thinner on the original system. Alright, here we go. Now we can see better. As I was saying, the rainbow bar on the 7800 Plus is quite a bit thicker than on the original system. It was like that on the original European model of the 7800 too. Let's take a look at this thing. On the front you have the power button, the pause button, the select button, and the reset button. And on the front you've got the player 1 control port, the player 2 control port, and the left and right difficulty switches, which are carryovers from the Atari 2600. And on the back we have the USB-C power port, the 16x9 or 4x3 switch, and the HDMI port. Check out this attention to detail, they even copied the wire wrappers underneath. Here's the underside of the original 7800 and you can see the wire wrappers are here too. And then we got a quick start manual. This gives you the package contents, how to hook up the wireless gamepad, and where the difficulty switches are on the system. Then we have the Crystal Quest manual. I love how they're using the original 7800 font here. This is a very high quality and excellent manual. Then we have this box. Let's see what's inside. Okay, we got the Crystal Quest game and the control pad. The game comes in this nice cardboard sleeve like Atari's been doing for their most recent games. I like that. And then here's the cartridge itself. Looks very good, high quality. But as you can see, the label is a bit different than on my original copy. This one actually reads Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest right here on the front, whereas my original just says Crystal Quest. And here's the wireless control pad. You can charge it here with the USB-C cable. Looks like it's trying to sync right now. And it comes with the little screw-on joystick. And we have a couple of receivers in here, one that works with the 7800 Plus, 2600 Plus, or any of the original Atari systems. It also includes a USB receiver so you can hook it up to, what, your computer? Or maybe into my Sega Genesis Mini. That'd be kind of cool. Here's the HDMI cable, and not one, but two USB-C cables. I guess the second one is for charging your controller. So I paid $60 for this system, and I think I did pretty well. Got the system, the controller, and the game. I think that's a pretty good deal, truthfully. Now what I want to do next is test it straight out of the box without doing any firmware updates, because I want to see what games are going to work. Alright, first let's go ahead and swap out the 2600 Plus with the 7800 Plus. And that's perfectly fine because they just use the same wiring. One thing to remember is to change it from 16:9 to 4x3, otherwise all your games are going to look stretched, and we can't have that. And then we just need to plug in the controller dongle here, right there on the front, like so. There we go. Let's go ahead and try the included game first, Crystal Quest. Looks like we have to sync the controller, or at least turn it on. Looks like we're on version 2.0 of the 7800 Plus firmware. And this is a game that actually requires both buttons because you've got the jump button here, and then this is the speed up button, and the throw the gems button once you pick those up. So you got to use both buttons with this game. Kind of like Mario in a sense, where you use the throw button to also run faster. This game is actually kind of similar to Pac-Land, and that it's just the goal is just to get to the end of the stage, which I just did. All right, now let's try my original Crystal Quest game and see if it's any different. One thing I will say is different is this plugs in a lot easier than the game that comes with it. Let's take a look at the connectors here. So this is the new game right here. You can see the connectors are very thick, and then this is the my original one here. If you can see around all that dust, you can see that connector is a little bit, I think it's a little bit thinner actually, and I think a little bit beveled. It's a little bit hard to tell though. Now, I don't expect this version of Crystal Quest to be any different than the one that I already had. Ah, I died again. Now, there might be a slight difference between these two because I'm just weighing these cartridges and it feels like mine is just slightly heavier. That might be my imagination, but it also might be that my copy has a pokey chip in it, whereas this one does not. I'm not really sure, and I'm not going to open it to find out, but a pokey chip gives it better sound effects and music. So I'm curious to see how the cartridge that I just got works in a real 7800, if it gets the same sound that I've got on this one. Next, let's go ahead and try my Pac-Man collection cartridge. Now, they just announced a 2600 plus with Pac-Man included, and it's this whole new Pac-Man system. I just went ahead and did a video on that the other day. But this is Pac-Man Collection, which has a lot of different variations of the game, including Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man Plus. So let's give this a try. Now, the nice thing is you can unplug the cartridges while it's still on. At least that's what they tell me. All right, that's cool. Looks like Pac-Man Collection works. Ah, maybe I'll do better with Miss Pac-Man instead. It's also got Miss Pac Attack, Random Mazes, Hangly Man, Puck-Man, Pac-Man, Ultra Pac-Man, more random mazes. Oh yeah, I like how fast she is. I could probably eat this whole maze before they even catch up to me. Oh, come on. Oh, can I get him? Can I get him? Oh, dang it, I just missed. And how about a little Popeye for the 7800? All right, cool. Popeye works. This is such a great version of Popeye, too. I feel like it blows the NES version out of the water. Oh, I gotta save the hearts. I have such a hard time getting Bluto. It's ridiculous. Here's Astro Blaster for the 7800. We'll give that one a try. Okay, Astro Blaster works. If I press the other button, I can slow down time. Now I want to try these three Atari 2600 games that have, I believe, ARM processors in them. So we'll see if these will work with the 7800 Plus out of the box. And it doesn't look like Galagon works. Instead, all I get is this weird bar across the top. And I don't think Draconian works either. And neither does Zookeeper. Alright, so let's go ahead and upgrade the Atari 7800 Plus's firmware. And the first thing you want to do is plug it in with a USB-C cable that supports data. Now, I believe the one that comes with it does support data, but I'm going to use the one that I already have here. And the next thing we're going to do is do a Google search for how to upgrade Atari 7800 Plus. And you'll come down here to this link that says updating 2600 Plus and 7800 firmware. We'll click on that, and we're going to scroll down here to how to download the 7800 Plus update tool. And then we'll go ahead and click download here, and we'll say download anyway. And then once it's downloaded, you can go ahead and open it. On a Windows machine, it might throw up this message about your PC being protected. Just click more info and then run anyway. And then you'll get this nice little update tool screen. You can click start. It says connect the USB cable from the 7800 to the PC. Already done that. Next. While holding the select button, turn the power on. So we'll hold down the select button and turn on the power. And I guess I'll click update here. Progress. Okay, nice. Step 3, turn off your 7800 Plus, okay. While holding the reset button, turn the power on. And I'm gonna click update. A little convoluted with having to press buttons and things like that, but overall not too bad. All right, success, update complete. Click finish, and we'll go try it out now. I should have version 2.0.1.4.1. All right, we're gonna try Zookeeper again. Well, that's disappointing, because I know it works on the 2600 Plus. Ooh. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Draconian. Yeah, that's a great game. And here's a game of Galagon. That doesn't seem to work. All right, I'm going to try my Sears Telegames version of Warlords because my regular version is in a spot where it's hard to find. And I wanted to see if the paddle controllers worked better on the 7800 Plus than on the 2600 Plus. That's my guy right there on the top. And you can kind of see there's still a slight amount of lag when I turn the paddle. It's still not perfect. Of course, you can't expect it to be perfect considering this is all emulation. It does feel a little bit better though, I'll grant it that. All right, here's a Breakout. This definitely feels better. Still a little bit laggy, but overall not bad.
Alright, now here's a couple of other games I want to try. Ball Blazer, Dig Dug, Xevious, and Galaga. These are some new games that Atari's releasing. Of course, I doubt we'll oversee Ball Blazer, but, you know, maybe.
Oh, it sounds like it's emulating the Poke Chip just fine. This game is so good. Yes! What's up, man? You're not playing, huh? Oh, that's right, I got it on 2-player. Sucker! And Dig Dug works, of course. I didn't expect it wouldn't. Oh no! And Xevious works. And it's very loud. And slow Galaga works. It does get faster in the later stages, but it starts off really slow.
And I want to try a Double Dragon for the 7800. Should work just fine.
Not the greatest version of Double Dragon, but at least it works. Man, this guy did not want to go down.
Alright, I went ahead and hooked up my 2600 Plus, and as you can see, I've got the 2014X firmware on here. And as you can see, Galagon definitely works. So I guess the latest firmware for the 7800 Plus does not support these newer games yet. I like this game because it just seems easy. And Zookeeper works. So I went ahead and hooked the controller's USB dongle to my computer, and then I fired up the Pro System emulator over here to Input, Controller 1. Normally I have my Xbox 360 controller set up, but check that out. I've got the Atari CX wireless controller showing here now. Alright, I got it all set up. We'll see if it works. You can see up there I've got the Pro System emulator running, and I've got my controller here hooked up. And yeah. Surprisingly, it works. Can't say I've ever played with an Atari controller on my computer before. Alright, well, the 7800 Plus, how do I feel about it? Well, I think it's a pretty good system. It seemed to play all the games that I threw at it, except for some of those newer 2600 games. And I expect that'll be fixed with a future firmware update. I'm actually kind of surprised that the 7800 Plus isn't equivalent to the 2600 Plus in the firmware department, but I'm sure it's coming. Anyway, the controller was good. It comes with the 2 dongles. The game Crystal Quest is a really fun game. It comes with the little cardboard sleeve thing. Does not come with a box, unfortunately, which would be nice if it had a box. It also comes with the manual that's really nice. So if you can get this system for, you know, 80 bucks or 60 bucks like I did, then you'd definitely be getting yourself a deal. If they added 2 or 3 more games at 130, it'd probably be worth it. But as it is, you may just want to hold off. With all that said, I want to thank you for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone. You know, I think Atari really ought to lean into the Bentley Bear character a little bit more and make him their mascot. Here, let me show you what I mean.